Everyone has a story to tell. We connect and relate to one another when we share our stories. My name is Amelia Old, and I am your host of Voices of Inspiration. Join me as I share stories of friends, family, and strangers from my everyday life and travels. You will laugh, possibly cry, or walk away feeling connected more than ever to those around you and ready to be the change our world needs. Everyone has a story to tell. What's yours? Welcome to Voices of Inspiration. I'm your host, Amelia Old, and today we are at the North Myrtle Beach Historical Museum with local Shag expert Darrell Gaither. Thank you so much
Thank you
for joining me today. I am so excited to learn more about the state dance, and this is the 40th anniversary of the state dance.
40th anniversary since it became the state dance of South Carolina.
So can you just talk a little bit about how you first became involved with this dance and what does it mean to you personally?
I became involved in it in 1968 at the old Myrtle Beach Pavilion. A couple of friends and I were down just for the weekend, and we came off the beach, went up to the pavilion and heard music playing, and I said, let's go up there. And there were a lot of young people there shagging. I didn't know what they were doing, but they were having fun. So I was watching, and my buddy said, come on, let's get out of here. I was like, no, I think I'll go hang around a while. I like what I'm seeing here because there's a lot of good looking girls there. Long story short, I got to talking to a couple of them, and they taught me the basic step and a couple of turns. And so I went home and I practiced it real hard, and I came back a couple of months later and got up the nerve to ask a girl to dance, and she said, you realize you're dancing on the female foot? I'm like, well, I guess that means there's a male foot. Females taught me, so they taught me on the female foot. So I had to go back and relearn it. And then, life came along, and, with family and job, and sort of veered away from it a while, then got back to it off and on over the years. And then I came to my first SOS in 1988, which is, in a nutshell, it's a 10-day spring break for grown-ups, okay? People from all over the country come in by the thousands. Wow. Just for this. And to me, it was like, I guess, going to the fair for the first time. I was just in awe of everybody, and everybody was having fun. They were dancing on the beach, they were dancing in the clubs, and it was all ages of people. From 6 years old to in their 90s. Wow. And they were just having a ball, and I'm like, yeah, this is for me. And then I really got serious about it, and first off, took some private lessons, and for a good number of years, started teaching and then started competing. And I don't compete much anymore except in mixed doubles contests. But I still love to go to the competitions, and watching, a lot of great friends I've made over the years still compete and love it and still teach. And I've been teaching 25 years, and it just gets better.
How have you seen the dance evolve over these years, especially in its significance in South Carolina?
Well, it's talking about the dance itself. We danced in sort of like a circle. It didn't matter where you let your partner out. Mm-hmm. Well, as it gained popularity, we were bumping into each other. So it evolved now into a track or a slot dance. So we tell everybody, try to imagine yourself dancing on a diving board. So it's only so wide, so long, and you don't want to get wet. So you keep in your little space or on your diving board. But there have been so many young people over the years that have come up and actually changed the style of the dance for the better. And those guys are amazing. And, those guys I'm talking about now, they are married and got children who are dancing and competing. So it's continually evolving. There's always new steps. It's like a 10,000 piece puzzle. You just put parts of this here, there, and there, and finally you've got a real nice picture.
Can you talk a little bit about the atmosphere and the community here in Myrtle Beach around shag dancing?
The atmosphere is like nothing you will experience in any other, gathering, because everybody is so friendly. If you want to learn a new step that you saw them do, 99% of the time they're going to stop what they're doing right then and show you that step. And we'd all come together for one common goal, and that's just to dance and have fun and share stories from the past. And so it's great. It's awesome.
Have you noticed any trends or changes in popularity recently?
Back in the day, and there was shag clubs were like 7-Elevens. They were everywhere. I mean, back where I'm from in Winston-Salem area, within a 25-mile radius, there were 7 or 8 shag clubs. And sadly, because of a lot of factors, that has declined. There's not really shag clubs. Most of the clubs have a venue that they go to once a week or once a month. Fat Harold's and the OD Pavilion here in North Myrtle Beach are the only 2, to my knowledge, shag clubs in the Carolinas that are 100% dedicated to the shag, the promotion, the preservation of the dance, the music. So my hat goes off to Harold Worley for keeping that alive, who owns both those establishments. But COVID hit, and it really hurt a lot. And that was the downfall of a lot of the clubs, because they just couldn't survive. But it has, thankfully, in the last 2 years, started to regain its momentum. I've noticed, I've been out this week, and all the clubs that are here, the Pavilion, Fat Harold's, Ducks, OD Arcade, they're packed. I mean, during the day, they're packed. And even at midnight, it's like probably, 200 to 300 people in there.
Wow.
Still.
I see a lot of videos on TikTok, for example.
Yes.
Do you think that plays a role in the club starting to become full even during the day?
It does. And it's all a good thing, the promotion of it, because you can go on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter. I mean, it's the talk of the town for a lot of people. And, we're very fortunate that North Myrtle Beach, is, I guess, the home of the shag and hosts this event, because it brings millions and millions of dollars of revenue into North Myrtle Beach. So, not only from the bars, but the hotels and the restaurants, the amusement parks, because people come down, they do get out and shag, but they have their kids or grandkids with them, and they want to do other things. So that money is spread around, I guess, in a pretty good circle here.
Can you talk a little bit more about the event?
When SOS first started, 1980, I think it was the brainchild of Swink Lauder and another guy. Anyway, they had an idea that they want to have an event to bring the old lifeguards back for a gathering. And started out, it was a 3-day party or reunion, so to speak, just for the guys that were dancing back then and they were lifeguarding, or bus boys or waiters or whatever. And it since has evolved to 3 events a year. We have Midwinter in January. We have Spring Safari, which is going on now for 10 days. We have Fall Migration in September, which is 10 days. And not only that, but now we have a week in mid-July called Junior SOS to get the younger generation involved in it. And normally we'll have 600 to 800 juniors here. And when I say juniors, I'm talking from 4 years old up to 20 years old.
Wow.
Once you hit 21, you're not considered a junior. But they have all kind of activities and fundraisers for them. And if you see these young people dance, it's just amazing. I mean, your jaw just want to drop. Some of the things that they do, they have no fear, and they're so limber, and the camaraderie between those and the older people is amazing. You'll walk into a club during SOS, which they open up the doors to them to 11 o'clock at night. You will see a 10-year-old dancing with a 70-year-old. I mean, and the young people come up, they want to dance all night long. So I'm glad there's more of us here than there are them, because they will wear you out.
That's really great, though, that you've got different parts of the community that are all coming together, all ages, and that have found this mutual love of a dance. I think that's really incredible. What advice would you give to someone that wants to learn?
If you want to learn, find a seasoned instructor, and don't get over anxious to try to learn everything. Do one step until you do it well, and then move on. Because if you try to learn everything at one time, it's like trying to make goulash. You know, you just got a mess in there. But just take your time and practice your basic step. I tell everybody, if you want to be a good dancer, perfect your basic, because every step in this dance comes from the basic step, or every move in this dance. So, but make sure that your instructors are well known and credible, and have a lot of experience in the dance, so they know how to communicate what they're seeing to where you can understand what you need to do.
Can you share a memorable or uplifting story from your experience over the years with shag dancing?
A funny story?
Sure, funny's good.
I was at a contest, and they were pro dancers. Well, the guy was doing a spin, a free spin, not connected to his partner, and he fell flat on his back on the floor. His wife looked down at him, straddled him, and danced over him from his toes to his head, turned around, he got up, came back up, right on beat, and just kept right on dancing. That was probably one of the funniest things I've seen. It was hilarious, and of course the crowd just went nuts.
Talk about just rolling with the moment.
Just go with the flow. It's all in the recovery.
Right. Well, thank you so much for taking time to be with me today. I do have one more question for you. Do you have a favorite quote or any words of wisdom you'd like to leave behind with the listeners?
I would say, regardless of what your ambition in life is, do it with a passion. And don't be afraid to share your passion, whatever that happens to be, with your family, your friends, and especially the younger generation, if you want that to be passed on and continue. Like in Shag, it's not only just a dance, it's a lifestyle in this area. That's what we do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are at the North Myrtle Beach Area Historical Museum, and we have another local Shag expert, Lori Setzer. Thank you so much for chatting with me today and talking a little bit about one of your greatest passions.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
So let's just start off by talking about, how did you discover your love for shag dancing?
I had at Carolina, University of North Carolina, had played with shag a little bit, but never taken any lessons, no training whatsoever. And one year my husband came to me at Valentine's and he said, "I'm out of ideas of what to get you. What would you like?" And we were both working a lot of hours at the time. And I said to him, "I want something that we have to do together," because I really was trying to, just force some together time. And he said, "Well, you've always wanted shag lessons. Why don't you see if you can find somebody that would teach?" So I Googled and found Darrell, of all people. And so we went to our first class, and I seriously think that John thought we would probably do a month's worth of classes and we would be done. And we got there and we recognized a few folks that we knew, and just loved the people and started learning the dance and realized that we loved all of it. So that really is how I got started, and that was in 2006.
Oh, wow.
And met people that are friends to this day in those beginning classes. And Darrell has become, for me, not only shag instructor, but amazing friend. So
that's really special, and it sounds like that's a common theme in this community of building these really close relationships. And
it is definitely a community. It is a lifestyle. And that was something that I think was driven home with us. We've been taking maybe 3 months, 4 months, and Darrell looked at us at the end of one of the classes and he said, "I have a place at the beach," i.e. North Myrtle Beach. "I'm going for the 4th of July. Why don't you guys come down? I've got plenty of room." We came down and had a blast. And I mean, we were closing down clubs, dancing. And we rode home from that trip looking at each other going, if he has a place at the beach, why don't we have a place at the beach? And so that sort of started the trek to get to the beach.
And it's continued to evolve from there.
It has.
Can you share a memorable experience of maybe introducing someone to the dance and how it changed not only their life, but maybe your life as well, as you watched that passion evolve, with them, especially, since it was something that came to you so randomly and out of the blue, and you didn't expect for this love to really grow beyond a couple of months. Have you seen that same thing happen with other people that you've introduced to?
Not so much that I've introduced, but in those really first classes, there were a fair number of single people who were taking classes, and they would dance with whoever was available. And then you started realizing that some of those single people were becoming couples. And out of Darrell's classes, he had multiple couples that not only still shag to this day, but they're now married.
Wow.
So that was really neat. It's always neat to see someone start to learn and to buy in. Some people won't practice and they're short-lived with it. But the ones who really practice and fall in love with the dance, it becomes a passion.
Are there any particular songs or musicians that you think are just essential to the whole experience?
That's a long list.
Who are some of your favorites?
Some of my favorites. On the top of my list, or very close to the top of my list, would be Band of Oz. I also like the Embers in the traditional beach music genre. But then shaggers dance to a little of everything. And that's one of the realizations, is that as long as the beat's correct and it's danceable from a tempo perspective, you can dance to whatever. I mean, you can dance to Justin Timberlake, you can dance to country. We dance to a variety of things.
What are some of the challenges or even misconceptions about the dance or the dance community even?
The dance community it's a very tight-knit group of people. And from a challenge perspective, I've been welcomed and really blessed to have the friends that I've made through Shag. So I can't say challenges from that perspective. I do think there are people that go, oh, that's the Shaggers, but particularly when they see the invasion that happens 3 times a year of everybody in town, oh, that's the Shaggers. But, and a lot of people have oh, I'm too old to learn this. No, they're never too old to learn this. You'll see Shaggers from literally age 4 to probably 94.
I think that's a really important point, is that you're never too old to do anything, really. And you're never too old for a new dream or a new passion or a new goal. And so that's very
I started in my late 40s. So, and it's been, for a while it was date night, because we would go to class on Thursday night, and that was our time together. And then as we retired, it became something to pursue and to give us something to do in retirement.
That's amazing. I can't wait to start myself now. What are you most proud of accomplishing in this part of your life?
I guess a couple of things. One, I would have never imagined that I would help teach. Wasn't any thought that I had whatsoever. And I was actually walking on the beach with Darrell's wife one day, and she said, Darrell's getting ready to teach some classes, and he wants you to teach with him. And my immediate reaction to her was, he doesn't want me. And she goes, I think he's going to ask you. And sure enough, about a week later, here comes Darrell with, will you teach? And I was very, very honored. Never really had the time or the desire to do competitive Shag. But to support Darrell one night, my husband and I were at an event that was a fundraiser for hospice. And they didn't have enough dancers. And so one of the gentlemen who taught in the Greensboro market came up to us and he said, you guys need to dance. We need dancers. And we're like, we haven't prepared anything. We're here to watch and support Darrell. He said, you guys need to dance. So he disappears for a little while, and he comes back and he's got a big grin on his face. He said, I just paid your registration fee. You guys are dancing tonight. So we went in the back room at what was called Thirsties in Greensboro and practiced for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Just, can we do this step? Can we do this step? And we went out and we actually won the newcomer part of that contest. And that was pretty special.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So it's a good thing that he pushed you into that one. For those interested in learning, what would be your top tips for mastering the Shag?
Top tips for mastering the Shag: number 1, find an instructor and take the classes. You have to have that baseline knowledge. You can learn some things by watching, and obviously you can watch everything on YouTube. The disadvantage of watching something from a video is there's no one to say, your foot's not quite right, this would make this step easier here, this would be smoother if you did this, so you don't get the feedback that you get from taking the classes. So that would be the number 1 thing. Number 2 is get out and dance, because you will learn more quickly if you get out on the floor. And a good dancer, if they're at a higher level in their comfort than you are, they will dance to your level, and they will make you look good. And that's my advice.
If somebody wanted to dance with you and Darrell here in Myrtle Beach, how can they find you online?
We teach every Tuesday night in Calabash, actually. And we teach beginner at 6, intermediate at 7, and advanced at 8. And Darrell's email is the one that those classes are hooked to.
And I will make sure to link to the email to be able to connect with you guys on the notes of the episode. I do have one more question for you.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite quote or any words of wisdom you'd like to leave behind?
My favorite boss when I was working had a quote that said that every day was a good day, but some days are better than others. And I would argue that every day is a good day, but the days that you get to live out your passion are better.
I absolutely love that. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking time to chat with me and telling me all about your newfound love. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.